This video is about Cató, a fierce heroine of the Surinamese Maroons who lived in the 18th century. Hello beautiful people, hello Afro Diaspora. Welcome to my channel. I am Makeda Daniel. One midnight in 1730, a group of 12 led by a young woman, Cató, made the daring decision to escape the plantation. With the help of her spiritual compass called Kubuku Obia, Cató guided the group through the dense, treacherous jungle. She was their beacon of hope, their guiding star in a pitch-black sky. The escape was meticulously planned. They moved under the cover of darkness like ghosts in the night, unseen but present. Time was of the essence, and every second counted. The plantation owners' soldiers were hot on their trail, spurred on by their master's fury at his property audacity to seek freedom. Cató trusted the Swili. To the Maroons, the Swili entity is a warrior god that guided them from enslavement to freedom. And thus Cató told them with confidence, "When it is safe, the Swili will give us a sign." Meanwhile, on the plantation of Master Otto, he woke up and discovered the escape of Cató and the others. Furious, he promised to hunt them down by saying, "Cató I will skin alive. Abenkina bewitched me with her voice. She lulled me into a deep sleep with her song." Abenkina was Cató's grandmother, who gave birth to Cató's mother, Donna. Thus, Cató was the granddaughter of Master Otto, the plantation owner. Cató welcomed other escapees from different plantations who joined them. She taught them commandments and prohibitions of the forest given by the Swili. Those who didn't obey the rules of the forest spirits fell ill, a reminder that powerful entities surrounded them. Cató prepared concoction from various plants, providing them with remedies for illnesses and protection against the dangers of the wild. From a simple herb, she could create a potion that would ward off venomous snakes or a salve to soothe the sting of an insect bite. Cató was not just a leader, she symbolized their collective strength. According to the Maroons, the Swili entity guided them through Cató to the promised land. Cató was like their Moses. As days turned into weeks, the group grew in numbers. More enslaved individuals braved the perils of the jungle to join them. Each newcomer was welcomed with open arms, and their arrival was celebrated as another victory against the oppressive system they were all fleeing from. Life in the wilderness was not without its challenges. Still, they learned to adapt. They built shelters from the jungle's materials and learned to coexist with indigenous people and the creatures that shared their new home. They were no longer just a group of escapees, they were becoming a society. They shared stories, sang songs, and celebrated their shared heritage. Once a daunting unknown, the wilderness became a place they could call home. However, they were still on the move. The Dutch soldiers kept hunting them. Plantation owner, incensed by their audacity, sent his soldiers in pursuit. The jungle echoed with the sound of their boots, the snapping twigs, a chilling reminder of the imminent danger. But Cató and her group were prepared to face any challenge, any danger. Their will to be free was stronger than any fear. The Maroons, under Cató's leadership, began launching strategic attacks on these plantations. Their purpose was twofold: to liberate their enslaved brothers and sisters and to gather essential supplies. Through her obya, she prepared the Maroon warriors for battle. Cató and the Maroons sent a clear message: they would not return to a life of enslavement. After the battle, the men were patched up by Cató and the other women in the group. Exhausted, the group arrives at the river branch after a journey of 250 kilometers in stages. Cató suddenly stops, calls everyone to silence, and mumbles while she listens attentively. They hear the birds chirping, but one bird chirps loudly. It has a message. The bird said, "This is Mother Ndyuka. You have arrived. Don't be afraid. Now you are not outcasts anymore." From that day on, this tribe became known as the Ndyuka people. The Dutch army had little success suppressing the uprisings. Most were inexperienced young soldiers. The Surinamese jungle full of poisonous snakes, malaria, and the fear of the legendary Maroons became their demise. It is said that the army often hunted the Maroons with a regiment of 200 men and after returned with 40 men. Most of the colonels who went to war against the Ndyuka Maroons knew Cato. One of them complained to the governor, saying, "There is a woman in their midst, Cató, a priestess, who provides them with magical powers." The governor replies, "Do you believe that? Do you accept this made-up story as accurate?" The colonel, offended by the governor not believing him, said, "Like you, I didn't believe the spies and the soldiers. But these eyes of mine saw what they saw. It is an unreal sensation. Bullets don't pierce them. Their movements are as swift as the wind, just like the power they worship. They are fearless, as if possessed by the devil." Governor Crumling insisted the story was just a myth. There were three men who played a significant role in the war against the slave owners: Pamu, Arabi, and Boston. These were men who Cató trusted the most. According to oral history, Pamu was Cató's brother and chief. Arabi claims to have been born in freedom. His parents were one of the first Maroons who escaped the plantation, and he joined the group of Cató. Boston Band was an enslaved who came from Jamaica with his master. In 1749, he ended up on the Berenburg plantation in Suriname. There he becomes one of the leaders of the Tempati uprising. Boston could write and read. He is said to have learned this from his former master. Boston believed in peace and good relations with the colonial government. That's why he leaves letters calling for peace when he raids plantations. Boston knew about the Jamaican Maroons peace treaty. He advised the Ndyuka Maroons on how to negotiate. Boston's letters convinced the colonial government to send a diplomatic mission to the Ndyuka Maroons. Later, he becomes a captain and finally a chief among the Ndyukas. After another fierce attack from the Ndyukas at the Magdeburg and Blijenburg plantations, the governor and the plantation owners gave in. At first, the peace negotiations are not going well because of mutual distrust and disagreement among Maroons and colonial administrators. Nevertheless, the negotiators reached an agreement in October 1760 at the Auca plantation. Hence, the Ndyuka Maroons are also called Okanisi, derived from Auca. Cato also provided spiritual advice during the peace negotiations. The colonizers recognized the freedom and autonomy of the Ndyuka. They also promised to supply weapons, tools, and food so the Maroons no longer had to plunder the plantations. On the other hand, the Ndyuka officially became allies of the Dutch and must help in the fight against other Maroons. They must also hand over escaped enslaved people in exchange for a reward. However, the Ndyuka Maroons not always obeyed those rules. There was a special package among all the goods the government gave to the Ndyuka Maroons. It was for Cató, sent by the governor. It contained tobacco and other delicacies. In 1760, when the peace treaty is signed, it is 30 years later that Cató, her family members, and others fled from plantation Adrichem. That night she was still a young lady of about 18. She led her people for 30 years, and for the Ndyuka Maroons, Cató is one of the most valuable and known priestess endowed with the magical obia of the Swahili entity. Today, the Ndyuka Maroons consist of 12 clans with one chief. The clan of Cató, called Otto clan, produces the chief and has done so for almost 3 centuries. A name is mentioned in the historical archives and praised to this day, and every descendant of the Ndyuka Maroons know her name. Have you seen my video about Bonnie? Cató also played a part in the story of Bonnie.